Hey y'all, welcome back to the ranch for part 3 of the Planter's Choice Bonsai Starter Kit. I am Jared Paul, and I'm coming from my daughter Stella's nursery here. I just want to give you a little update, show off the blue jacarandas, very similar to the Delonix Regia. I prefer the Delonix Regia because it grows thicker and wider, where the blue jacaranda seems to want to get really leggy and tall and skinny, and they also don't like being pruned, or that's been my experience at least. So I have one that I have recently pruned down because the leaves were all sorts of damaged from going from outside to inside. So I said, let me do a little something with that. So I chopped that one down. And then, as you see, what I'm talking about, long and stringy right there. And finally, right here, these ones remained inside the whole time. The other two I just showed you, they went outside for summer. So sorry about the lighting, but you see these are tall and they've got some nice healthy foliage, but very skinny, you know. Of course, it's normal to have all these tropical trees and plants in a baby's nursery. I love this little weeping plant. I've got them all over the house. They multiply just by dropping their flowers in other plant boxes. And this is a Delonix Regia that grew from seed after we set up the nursery. 2 years in dormancy in this soil. I didn't know I had any left. So I'm really excited about that. So that's like the third generation Delonix Regia from the same seeds. All right, so without further ado, I have one more Delonix Regia to work with. It is really skinny. It's always lived indoors. It's in too small of a bonsai pot. I'll fix that next year. It's planted up in just straight pumice and perlite, and it has a tiny bit of foliage up at the top right now. I just defoliated it, and we're going to bend it with some yarn, my first time. So that's what's coming up on today's episode of Jarhead Bonsai. All right, y'all, so one more thing before we get into the bending. I'm going to attach a video right now. Laura found it from October 3 years ago when we moved in here. It was the first time I pruned that initial Delonix Regia, the really thick one that we worked with on part 2 of this video. And it's the initial trunk chop, I believe, at 10 months old. It's pretty cool how big and full it was, but it did not branch at all until I trunk chopped it. So stay tuned right now for that. Okay, here I go.
The first cut.
All right, y'all. So here we are the following morning after part 2 of 3. Got some delicious coffee, Mexican and Colombian blend from Haley Coffee House. You could check them out on Instagram. They're an amazing home roasting company, just getting started, and we are lucky enough to be part of the testing phase. So if you want to check them out, Haley Coffee House, good people. So I have taken this yarn and I tied it around the pot, and now I'm just kind of looping it like I see people wiring. I'd say about a centimeter between each loop. Americans, 2.54 centimeters per inch. So if you want to think of it like that, it's a little less than a half inch. All right, so we were thinking of getting it to bend and having a little bit of circular motion coming back towards the original trunk. So kind of like a swoop. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to do 2 different tying offs. So let's get this into the pot here. Let me get Buddha out of here before I knock him over. And I moved a piece of rose quartz into this planting, and there was a piece of white quartz in this that I added to my other plantings. I just felt like it matched a little bit better. All right. So I got this technique from my friend Sue on YouTube. She probably gave me more directions than just use yarn, but now I'm just going for it. So, all right. Maybe I shouldn't have had strong coffee with this, as now I'm shaking. Come on, give me more. Sweet. One more time. Loop, swoop, and pull. Okay. I'm going to attempt to use the same piece of string without cutting it. So what would I have to do here? Come up, wrap around here. That's not going to do it. Maybe we do it like this. Can't talk when the wheels are turning, you know? The brain's going. So I think that didn't go too badly. Wow, that is not attractive. I gotta move it up. Well, if nothing else, it's interesting. Anytime I try to bend this a little bit more, I hear a little bit of cracking. So I don't want to mess with that. But I think that we could work with this in the future here. I get the bend now. All right, encourage this to come back up. Make this the front. Encourage this to come back up. And boom, canopy with a cool little swirl. We'll see. I don't want to mess with it too much since it's just got that little bit of foliage. So this was kind of fun, little experiment. I did a little bit of wiring with a white pine of mine. That's older than this. That's outside. But other than that, this is my first try, so I might have waited a little too long on this one. In the future, I would do it when it's a little thinner, more pliable. But we'll see. See how if it takes like this, and then we can work on that in the future. So that's going to do it for part 3 of 3 and this episode of Planner's Choice Bonsai Starter Kit, highlighting the Delonix Regia. We talked about the blue Jacaranda a little bit. And in spring, I will let y'all know how the Pinus aristata and the Picea aves are doing, and we'll probably prune those then as well. So I'm Jared Paul from me and my family at the ranch. I'd like to wish you and yours a great weekend, and yeah, cheers.